Oh, okay. Thank you. Tansei. My name is Michael Redhead Champagne. I am confused as to where to stand because this is like the bright area, but
Stand in the bright area so we can see
But here's the thing, everyone. I'm allergic to podiums. But we'll see what we can do. I'll try it. We'll try it out. All the better to see you with. Good morning, and thank you all very much for coming on out here today. My name is Michael Redhead Champagne. My family is from Shamattawa in northern Manitoba. I was born and raised in Winnipeg's North End. That's why they call me North End MC. And if you've ever heard any stories about the First Nation from which my family comes or the community that raised me, odds are you've only heard one story. I think it's important for us, if we're going to be real about democracy, to get real about the stories we tell one another and the stories that are coming out in media, social media, and in our lives as we build relationships and connect with one another. And so the very first thing that I wanted to acknowledge here today was the beautiful land acknowledgement that happened here. And can we just give it up to the folks here at Ryerson for doing such a fantastic land acknowledgement here today? What is really important when we are talking about acknowledgements, and so much more important than acknowledgements, are actions. And to hear this institution list off the actions that they are going to take to ensure that First Nations, Métis, and Inuit voices are included, and not only included, but elevated to the position that they need to be so that we can actually work well with one another, is so very exciting. I'm the founder of a group called Ayo. You guys, can you say that with me? Say, Ayo! Ayo! I know it's early in the morning, but we're gonna try this again, and this time I wanna believe you. Say, Ayo! Ayo! That sounds like democracy. So, democracy is a beautiful concept, right? Every 4 years, we go, we check a box, and then 4 years later, we do it again. I think it's really important for us to challenge what democracy means to us, especially here in these spaces. And for me, democracy has very little to do with voting every 4 years. The group that I work with, Aboriginal Youth Opportunities, has started an initiative called Politics, spelt with an X, because those young people said that they wanted to do politics differently. It's an initiative where we meet weekly in Winnipeg's North End in local businesses, and we invite bureaucrats, administrators, elected official, and any helper that has system knowledge to sit with us as urban Indigenous young people and explain processes, policies, and how systems work. This component of system navigation and system literacy is critical if we are going to engage young people in politics. One of the things that is exciting about what happens with the Aboriginal Youth Opportunities team in Winnipeg is not only do we learn about how these systems work, but we engage. And we engage in as constructive and solution-oriented as a way as possible. And what that means is we have to sometimes challenge the way we think of things or the way we speak about things. And so when we are talking about important concepts, and I think a lot of folks in 2019 are having conversations around reconciliation, I think it becomes critical for us to ask ourselves the question, what do these words mean to us? Democracy, reconciliation, and my favorite word that was mentioned up here this morning, love. And so as we are having these conversations and these discussions, I want us to be able to think about, is this the right way for us to be framing this conversation? Is this the right way for us to be moving forward? And as an example, I wanted to share something with you from my culture and from my language. And as somebody that comes from the child welfare system in Manitoba, this process of reclamation of my identity and my language and my role as a storyteller is an important piece of me living a good life. And so if you are like many of us, frustrated with the amount of abuse that words like democracy or reconciliation are treated with, then I want you to join me in challenging how we do this. And so I wanted to start by sharing something with all of you. And so in my language, which some people call us Cree, but in our own language, we call ourselves Innu. All right, so you could say Cree, or you could say Swampy Cree, or you could say Innu, because that's the word in our language. But in our language, we have an even better phrase. And that phrase is the one that I am about to teach you, for those of you who can see it. Okay, I'm done now. The phrase is Mino Bamata Sewin. And we're gonna practice this in just a little bit, but first I wanted to explain to you what Mino Bamata Sewin is. Mino Bamata Sewin means the good life. Mino Bamata Sewin means we are all safe. We are all housed. We have food in our bellies. We have love. We have opportunity. Our gifts are acknowledged. It means everyone is taken care of. And so for me in my life, too often, phrases like democracy have meant that that doesn't include me. And even phrases like reconciliation only include me and do not include non-Indigenous people. And so for me, I don't want reconciliation, and I don't even think I want democracy. But what I do want is Mino Bamata Sewin, for myself, for you, and for your families. And I believe that we can have Mino Bamata Sewin because in Winnipeg's North End, in the inner city where Aboriginal youth opportunities and all of our various initiatives operate, what we are trying to do and what we are achieving is creating that good life. And what we call it in Winnipeg, well, there's Aboriginal youth opportunities, there's the Bear Clan Patrol, the Drag the Red Initiative, Got Bannock, and all of these different Indigenous-led initiatives actually call on citizens to participate and show up on a regular basis. Not every 4 years, but every 7 days. And so we call those gatherings collectively the village. And it's a beautiful, beautiful feeling to be a part of the village. Because in the village, we all believe we can access Mino Bamata Sewin. We can all live that good life. And it doesn't exclude, it only welcomes. And it's based on love. And a lot of folks will say this, especially in political or professional environments. I'll say, the thing we need the most is love. And you know what people say to me? Michael, that's out of scope. Well, guess what? We're gonna have to get out of scope here if we wanna ensure that we don't leave our relatives behind anymore, because that is what this conference is supposed to be about. And to me, real democracy happens in the village when young people show up at these gatherings every 7 days and they vote with their time. They vote with the little bit of money that they do have. They vote with their bodies. And to me, that is democracy. And so I want to ask you this question once more. Does democracy mean showing up once every 4 years and letting other people make your decision? Or does democracy mean taking action and creating Mino Bamata Sewin in every single opportunity that presents itself to us? Because I believe that that's what we need to do if we're going to actually move forward in a good way together. And we're going to be able to address some of these toxic systems and roles all around us. But the final thing that I want to say is that in the work that I do with urban Indigenous young people, most of us coming out of the child welfare system or living lives of poverty, the most important thing that I can do with these young people is help them identify and share their gifts and ensure that they are being heard and listened to. Because I want everyone to look around this room right now. And I don't see the amount of Indigenous young people or youth in general in this room that we need. So let's think about who's not here, and let's take the steps to deliberately build that relationship, welcome them into spaces, and guess what? It might be out of scope, but it's the work that we need to do. And so I welcome you all to this journey, and I encourage you all to walk with me as we try to find Minopamata Sewin, as we try to find the good life, because I feel like if we take action, we can get there. And the final thing, and I keep saying the final thing, but one more final thing, is going to be the importance of, as we learn and as we share with our relatives that have experience in these democratic systems, it's going to become important for us to welcome those fresh perspectives of what democracy could mean, or what reconciliation could mean, or what community means, or even what Canada means. I think it's absolutely critical for us to be thinking about redefining what these words mean, because they have literally been abused to the point of no meaning. And so let's make it better, and no more of this talking only business, all right? Let's take action, because the more action that we take, the more lives we're gonna save, the more relatives we're gonna bring into the circle, and the more true democracy, the more Minopamata Sewin we are going to have. And so I have faith in those of you that are here that we can do that, and I'm really excited for us to be able to challenge these notions of democracy throughout this conference, but this is only the starting. If you come to a conference and then when you're done, it's like, oh, that's the end. That's weird. Okay? Don't do that. So let's make sure that we apply the things that we learn, we honor and build those relationships with one another. And again, I just want us to challenge ourselves to think about who is not in the room, because I don't think it's out of scope. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for listening, and have a great conference.